Hey, it's Amanda here for A Greener Demeanor, and I'm kind of wrapping up my Waste 101 series and wanted to touch on reusing and upcycling. I think we all kind of know what reusing is. It's when you don't buy something new to replace a thing that you had and you just keep using the thing that you already have. When you buy clothes from a thrift store or a consignment store, that's reusing, so that's great. If you buy a used car, if you just reuse food containers over again. For our food containers, we have a cupboard and we only put what fits in that one cupboard, but we fill that with like the jars and the tubs of used yogurt or sour cream or whatever we're eating. And we put leftovers in those jars to go home with people during holidays. So that's reusing for the same purpose. And then upcycling is when you take that item and you kind of repurpose it. So it could be simple as like painting a bathroom vanity. Like you have an awful hideous color and you paint it instead of buying a new vanity. That's upcycling, you're making it better. Or if you take an item and use it for a totally different purpose. We had an old pallet at our house for some reason, I don't even know why, and we used it for a vertical like herb garden. We've stuck in pieces of extra siding in the bottom and then filled it with dirt, and so now we have a vertical herb garden. And my favorite example that I've seen of upcycling is from my friend Erin and her husband Josh, and they made their little girl a sweet like play dress up wardrobe out of an old TV entertainment center. So that is an awesome creative use of upcycling. Basically, what do you already have that you can keep on using, or how can you change it into something that you or someone else could use? We still want to reduce the amount of things that we buy, but the things that we do have, how can we reuse those longer? Just think of all the resources that are going into making a brand new thing, whether it's something very small, and a lot of them, or it's something bigger. And there's gonna be certain things that you wanna buy brand new, but where you can try and reuse those items that you have. Where can you make those changes in the first place to reduce the amount of those items that you are getting rid of? And think about if there's a different way that you can purchase those. And there's tons of reusable swaps that you can find for things. Think like reusable straws, either metal or bamboo or silicone, or like the silicone lids that you stretch over bowls to keep things fresh. That's actually like one of my favorite things. And reusable water bottles, that's a pretty obvious big one. But before you go out and buy those things new, think about if there's something you already have that serves that purpose. Like, yeah, okay, that water bottle looks cool, but if you already have 15 of them, there's no reason to go buy a new one. And then there's like those cutlery sets that you can buy where it's like, ooh, bring your own cutlery set around. You can use the forks and spoons that are already in your house and make your own cutlery set. You don't have to go out and buy a new one. So you don't have to go rush out and buy all these reusable swap items. See what you have first that can serve that purpose and take their place. Another thing when you're thinking about your items and if you can reuse them or not is if they're broken, can you fix it or can someone else fix it? Our county does fix-it clinics, so volunteers that have a specific knowledge of how to fix certain items come on out, they volunteer their time, and they help people fix the items that they have. And not only are they fixing them for them, but they're teaching them how you would fix that item for the future if it breaks again. We have a really cool store up in Minneapolis called Repair Lair, and they specialize in fixing like outdoor gear, camping gear, hiking gear, all sorts of things, like a button falls off or a zipper breaks. They repair and sell those kinds of things back. As far as used items go, when you're thinking about buying things, think antique stores or consignment shops. Those items are gonna be used, and a lot of times you can find something that's unique, that's not like the trendy thing that everybody else has right now. It's unique to what you have in your home. If you're a new mom, see if you can find a used maternity wear store, like consignment shop. We have one called Bellies to Babies in Richfield, and that place saved me so much money because maternity wear is expensive and you do have to buy it unless you're willing to just wear like super oversized stuff. But like it's much more comfortable to wear maternity pants than real pants. It's hard to go back. And it's only clothes you're gonna wear about a year and then you're gonna pass them along somewhere. So you don't wanna have to buy brand new maternity clothes when you get pregnant. If you're looking for furniture for your home, check out an antique store or look for someone who refurbishes old furniture. There's a place, and I hesitate to even say it because I like looking at it and I don't want anyone to steal the stuff that I want, but it's Minnesota Artisans Market, and they have some really cool things on there that people have redone, like furniture that is gorgeous. that has been refurbished or painted or fixed up, and that is a great place to find furniture. Think about your neighborhood. If you're close to your neighbors, does everybody on your cul-de-sac need a snowblower or a lawnmower or whatever you use that might be expensive and hard to take care of? Like, does every single person on the block need that, or is it something that you could share with your neighbors? Minneapolis has a toy library and a tool library, so you can use those spaces to use stuff temporarily instead of buying new tools or toys. And think about just like the regular library, those exist too, or just the little free libraries that people have out in front of their houses, which can also serve as a good motivator to get your kids to go walking too, or bike. In Bloomington, they have this awesome set of weeks in the spring. We call it junk drive days, but they call it like Citywide curbside cleanup or something. And the city takes all the things that are maybe too bulky for the trash or that people couldn't get rid of normally. Hey Riley, should we go for a walk? Should we go? This is the greatest week of the year, where everybody puts all their crap out on the curb to get rid of. So you pay for that on your bill, and then they come around and pick up once a year all the trash and junk that people have had sitting in their houses. Oh, sweet. Check this thing out. And not only does that like cleanse your house and your brain from all the junk that's in your house, but it also gives pickers a chance to go around and find some cool things. Then you start seeing all the trailers and the U-Hauls that people have rented, and they're pulled over on the side of the road and they're looking through people's trash. So they know when it is, they know when to rent those things, and it can be really good for people that are looking for certain items or that can fix up some of those items. Now, you don't want people to just be like, oh, well, I can just put it on the curb for junk drive days and the city will take it and throw it away for me, because you do want to try and find homes for your things before that. The things that you own, you are responsible for making sure they get as much use out of as possible. But for people that maybe don't feel comfortable putting things out online and meeting up with people and buying and selling or giving away things, this is a really good option. All right, so here's some steps on how you can start practicing getting into the habit of reusing and upcycling things instead of just chucking them in the trash. First one is kind of a natural thing. You're thinking, is this something I don't need, or is this something I don't want? And you need to watch out for this one, because it can straddle a thin line between good reusing and becoming a pack rat and hoarding things. So make sure that if you are the kind of person that is like, oh, maybe I'm gonna reuse this in the future, either set a date where you need to figure out how you're gonna reuse that item by, or maybe every year you just go through and clean out the things that you didn't find a use for. Ask yourself if that item is broken. Could you fix it, or could someone else fix it? Think about if someone else could benefit from having that item, and that's kind of where that arsenal of resources come in for the community that you live in. Could you change that item to serve another purpose, or even would just being a different color make it a usable item again? And sometimes you're just at the point where none of those things apply and you just need to get rid of it. So think about the best way to dispose of that item. Think about your rules of recycling, and also if it's household hazardous waste, and choose the best way to get rid of it. So just think about all those things, and if you just start making it a habit, you'll get into the practice of thinking about reusing and upcycling instead of just throwing those things away. And that should help you in reducing what you buy too, because you'll be pre-thinking about like, okay, what's gonna happen to these things when I'm done with it? How long am I gonna have it? Can I reuse this item? My local feature for this week is an antique store that my friend Josh and his husband Dave owns. Today I'm out in front of Wild Things Antiques in Fridley, and we're gonna see what kind of cool things they have for your home in there. The store is owned by my friend Josh and his husband David, so we're gonna go check it out.
Hello, my name is Josh. This is my husband Dave. We are the founders of Wild Things Antiques. We had a space in Cincinnati for a couple of years, and now we are here in Fridley, Minnesota. We buy and resell all kinds of things that we like. So the concept of our business is basically like mid-century modern, you know, housewares, eclectic furniture.
I kind of boil it down and say we buy and sell cool things to cool people. Ultimately, just mid-century is our base, but we don't color within the lines. We love fun and funky vintage, retro, antique. You know, it could be from the 70s or 80s, it could be from the 1800s, 1700s. Cool is cool regardless, and we just kind of mix and match and have fun with it.
Cool stuff. Look at this little chair. Aww. Cute. Really neat art. That's cool. I don't know what this is, but I like it. A wine. Oh, like a wine rack. Oh, now I love it even more.
We follow this concept of reusing basically everything. Nothing in our house is bought brand new.
I had a family antique shop growing up.
Okay.
So I'd been doing this in some manner since I was a kid. Literally, we started just with a booth in the antique mall hunting for cool stuff, and it led to another booth in vendor markets, and then the shop in Cincy, and then we moved up here.
I think it naturally evolved from something that we enjoy doing to something that other people enjoy, you know, kind of sharing in with us.
One of the things that I think we pride ourselves on is keeping stuff out of the landfill. So we will refinish a piece of furniture to save it from going into the landfill. We try to keep it as original, restoring it back to what it originally looked like. But if it's a last ditch effort, we'll paint it to save it from going in the landfill where somebody will be able to get a use out of it. And that for us is kind of like a benchmark, okay, can we bring it back to life how it looked like originally? If not, what's its next iteration to stop it from, you know, getting thrown away and taking up space in the landfill, or, you know, just kind of reducing that footprint. It could be busted or missing its legs, and we're like, holy cow, we just saved that, we brought it back to life and gave it a new life. And found a new home for it.
Do you get a rush from it?
Oh yeah.
Is it a chemical rush?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our aesthetic is a little bit wild. I mean, we don't go for any specific color, any specific shape, any specific design. One of our rooms in Cincinnati was called the Rumpus Room. It was basically everything that didn't fit our style that we still somehow ended up with, that we put in what we would consider crazy grandma's basement. And people would just go in there, pick the things up that they like, and then come out and offer us a price for them. So it was really kind of our bargain, fun room. So we have a couple different areas here, like the rack behind you, where it's just kind of an eclectic mix of oddities that don't necessarily fit a particular style, but might have some sort of, you know, meaning, or people might love it in that sense.
Somebody may do a rogue salt shaker, you know, say grandma had this salt and pepper shaker, somebody broke the pepper shaker, oh, we have that matching pepper shaker. Not
just things that we deal in, it's memories and feelings and, you know, emotions, and the amount of people that we get in here that will find a piece that might not mean something to, you know, someone that means the world to them, kind of makes it a whole entire thing for us. Because we do vintage Christmas so hardcore, that people are finding pieces that they remember from their childhood, or they remember grandma having on a tree, and it's just such a cool experience when that happens, where you're sharing this cool moment with somebody that is reconnecting, and you may even re-trigger a memory that they'd even remember, realize that they had.
Oh sure, yeah.
You just see it happening, and I'm it's cold chill worthy, super cool to see it happen real time.
Or even the smell of something, you're
yep.
Whoa, I don't remember what I remember this from, but I remember the smell.
Yeah, absolutely.
My grandma's Estee Lauder.
Yeah.
I literally can smell it, and I'm like, oh my god, that's my grandma.
Even if you didn't like it at the time, you're
right.
oh gosh, grandma, that stinks. It's more precious 20 years later.
Yep, absolutely. We keep things for as long as they stay with us, because you never know who's going to come in and when they're going to find exactly what they were looking for in an item that we've had for 3 years. We can move an item 47 times, and that 48th time we move it, somebody sees it on our Instagram and they're like, where has this been all our life? No matter how many times you walk through, you always are gonna find something like else that you didn't see before. If in what form they're in, it's not selling, you know, we try to make it different somehow. But we also have some really cool like partnerships with some other businesses that are local that do similar things. So if we have an item that we think would you know, sell quicker in their space, then we kind of like work out a deal in order to get them the item so that they can get it to somebody's home faster than we can. So for items that we keep for a really long time, we start to brainstorm like, how do we, you know, get this to somebody that was gonna love it.
Do you guys do the Bloomington junk drive days?
We do.
Do you get like the whole trailer or multiple trailers and drive around?
Sure do. That's kind of what prompted us to get a warehouse space, expand this concept, and maybe move into a larger space in the complex. You know, to have some more people out here and do some like different flea markets and stuff like that. That would you know, kind of just further the idea of reusing things and, you know, building a community that, you know, supports that and feels the same way.
If we have something that someone loves, we were like, if you love it, you have the money to buy it, buy it. We never know if we'll find that exact piece ever again. There's certain pieces that we'll find consistently, but most of the like really cool pieces we're like, we never know when we're gonna find it again.
Everything that we have in our shop is also on our website. So we tie that into our Instagram and our Facebook. So we have like multiple channels, and we do like multiple road trips down to Cincinnati because we still have a place there. And we will fill a whole entire van and deliver things to people in Cincinnati and everybody en route. We ship things all over the world too.
If there's something that you love that we post, like, I want to look at it better, literally just comment DM. It's like no questions asked, like 24-hour hold.
We are open from noon to 5 on Saturday and Sunday, and we are by appointment through the week. One of the really cool things about doing this is seeing the vast variety of people that come out to our spot. So, you know, we pride ourselves on being an LGBTQ business, so we're gay owned and operated, which, you know, is something that we're really proud of, and we're actually really like excited to see how many people from the LGBTQ community come out and support us, but also everybody from the wildest varieties of people, from, you know, very young to very old. Just the amount of joy that all different kinds of people get when they come in here is like what makes us really excited.
We'll get like people that bring their, you know, preteen teenagers in with them, and I want to make sure that they have an equally cool experience, because so many like vintage and antique shops are a little hoity-toity when it comes to that, and like
don't touch this, don't break
honestly,
this, don't play with this.
They can be very rude. Because I remember that from when I was a kid. That I want to make sure that we're welcoming to everybody, regardless of age, you know, gender, everything, because I want people to feel at home and welcome here. Like, I want to make sure that we have that environment where we create a space where people can find cool stuff that they love, regardless of anything. You know, that's ultimately what we do, is we find cool stuff and sell to cool people.
Welcome, welcome everyone.
Thanks for watching. If you want to keep following our 52 weeks of trying out a more sustainable life, go ahead and click subscribe and the bell so you can keep up to date on what we're doing.